We're live.
Yes. It's the Tim McKernan Show podcast, presented to you by James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, presented to you by Seth Goldcamp of Design Air Heating and Cooling, and presented to you by Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies online at evergreenstl.com. James Carlton online at carltoninsurance.net. And Design Air Heating and Cooling online at designairservice.com. Alongside Jackson Bennett Burkett, I'm Timothy Michael McKernan, and let's get it on.
Let's do it.
Jackson had to call an audible here. For those of you who are listening live to TMA this morning, Wednesday, also known as June 11th, 2025. We were going to be doing the Spread Zone podcast, the gambling podcast I do with Riz of the Rizzuto Show and Anthony Stalter, but we had to flip-flop them for some technical issues, apparently, with the studio. So we're going to do QFTA now. So what a treat for those of you watching on YouTube at youtube.com/TMASTL. And you can always email in your questions. Anything goes. TMCKERNAN at InsideSTL.com. I'm over here, and you know what I'm doing? I'm fucking around with my laptop. This is a substitute laptop while my laptop gets repaired somewhere at Apple.
Okay.
And I have this laptop. This is a new one I got for my wife. I'm using it right now. And I'll have to clear all the Ella Reese stuff before I hand it over to her. Yes. Although she might become a fan.
That'd be a great way to kind of
it'd be the greatest. God, wouldn't that be
just
the greatest?
Just like in her bookmark tab.
God, that'd be the greatest thing ever. So I don't have all access to all of my stuff right now, including, my health chart.
Oh, no.
I haven't had my laptop for 6 days, which means I haven't been able to update my health chart for 6 days.
Oh, no. Just for the sake of bookkeeping.
It goes back to 2007.
Right.
And I'm a little perturbed because I'm OCD AF. And then I got an email last night from Apple, and I sent it back. All they got to do is replace the battery. That's the only issue. The thing's 5 years old. Yeah. These MacBooks, though, they run like the wind.
They can run for a long time.
Oh, my goodness. And I was just going to get another one, and then a guy I work with has his own company that, handles Mac products, Apple products, I should say, said, why spend the money on that? They can just fix the battery. I go, that's a good point, so I'll do that. But then they send me an email back and saying, well, your monitor is cracked and your taskbar is broken, so we can't fix it. I called them, and they told me, and how about this policy? I don't know if you've ever heard this before, that if multiple things are wrong with an Apple product, if you elect to not have them fix all of them, they will send it back. Because I contacted them, I said, well, hey, no problem, just fix the battery. I don't care about the rest of it. Yeah. And they said, well, our policy is, I actually spoke to a live person very quickly too, within like 30 seconds of calling. They said, our policy is, if you don't choose to fix it all, we don't fix anything, and we'll just send it back to you.
Huh.
So then I'm like, okay, I'll go ahead and have them fix it all. But I'm worried that it'll mess up what I care about, which is my cloud, and not my cloud, but the hard drive. The cloud's in the cloud. And we could have like a Hunter Biden situation here where the Ella Reese messages will be revealed for everybody to see.
Hashtag Tim's laptop.
Hashtag Tim's laptop.
I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Oh, you don't know what's on that history.
Oh, I have no doubts that it's... Is deranged a good word for that?
Boy, perverted. Certainly, like if this were Family Feud. Deviant.
Yeah, deviant. I promise you they've seen worse. I told you about my buddy who worked at the Mizzou tech support.
I really like this story, so if you wouldn't mind telling it again, it's going to put me in a good place.
I'll regale you and the audience. I had a buddy does software engineering, and in college, his job, he worked at tech support at the Mizzou bookstore, and a very attractive...
This is the hottest thing that's ever happened to me.
...woman who was going to Mizzou had an issue with her laptop, dropped off her laptop, and when my buddy opened the laptop, she was right there with him.
I didn't know she was right there with him.
Oh, yeah. Tab after tab after tab of pornography.
I thought it was girl.
There was some girl in there, mixed in.
Sweet release.
It was a real potpourri. And
what was her reaction? Was she like, "Oh, tee-hee"?
Exactly. She was extremely embarrassed. My buddy said,
and I would say,
I see it all the
don't
time.
Be embarrassed.
He said he never went home faster than that day.
Oh, I'll be right back.
Sprinted home.
That's my credo.
Sprinted home. He said, you don't get a lot of these moments when you're working in tech support at the Mizzou bookstore. So when they come around, you relish them.
God, that's the hottest thing.
It's pretty
I might
incredible.
write a film based on that.
Yeah, there probably is something there.
God, that's hot. I love that story.
Yeah,
listen, I enjoy a lot of your stories, but that one I actually remember, and I'm a big fan of that story. That is the hottest damn thing going. But my understanding, though, on lasses in your age range is there ain't no shame in the game. That normal shit ain't their thing.
Yeah, this would have been 2017, 18, and I feel like it's certainly, I think the advent of OnlyFans has really loosened people's grip on what they used to think was, morally correct or whatever, or just maybe
have shame about it.
Yeah,
just don't care.
Right, exactly. I really do think like the OnlyFans, the feet picture thing, like has really opened up people's minds. Like
the OnlyFans feet picture thing. What's that?
OnlyFans and feet pictures, because some people I don't know where they sell feet pics, but they'll just sell them online, and I think that is kind of.
So that's
people.
That's become like the industry, the foot picture industry, more so than OnlyFans.
No,
I got to tell you, you're educating me.
No, I think OnlyFans is the leader in the clubhouse in that regard. But I'm sure there's a lot of foot pictures sold via OnlyFans.
I mean, I wonder what a lady can make. So she doesn't have to be. The rest of the situation doesn't have to be great, but her feet are attractive in the foot community.
Sure.
And she can make, I don't know, I wonder what's fair. We got to get a foot model on.
I have to imagine the market's pretty saturated.
I would think. I mean, it's the easiest damn thing going.
But then you can't overestimate the desperation of those clutching their ween. And
flip that off, and I think we might have the title for today's podcast.
It's a little wordy, but I like it. You can't overestimate that desperation. I would venture to guess, on average, $10 per foot picture. Now, that's just a foot pic.
I know, but like, I'm curious what the volume. Like, is there somebody making $100,000 a year doing this?
Is there someone? Yes.
I mean, I hate when I do it.
Are there a group of people making?
Are there 1,000 women making?
No,
$100,000.
Just solely on literally just taking a picture of their foot. That's it, and selling it. No, someone who has an OnlyFans. It doesn't even have to be like doing a ton of stuff on there. But I think you eventually need a foot reveal. Like they need a face to a foot. It doesn't have to be.
Oh, is that right? Really?
Doesn't have to be in the picture, but maybe just a little something. So I don't know if someone is solely, and that pun was unintended.
Yeah, that was fun though.
Thank you.
That was really fun. I liked it.
Yeah, well, local news might be calling my name.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's somebody, if just doing foot pictures, nothing else, that's making $100,000. Unless you're doing a lot of foot pictures, which I mean, you could do 5,000 a day. It's foot pictures, God.
And I feel like Lisa Ann, when she was on with us, talked about how she realized, like, just how easy, like, she'll just be, like, sitting there at the pool with her girlfriends in Manhattan on a rooftop, and they'll just joke about, I wonder how much I can make real quickly, because, I'm just sitting here in a bikini. I'll take a picture, and out of the bikini, not a selfie, but just her feet with, like, the New York skyline in the background, and then they just laugh about how much money they make.
It's one of the bigger flexes I've ever seen. Like when we were hanging out in Jamaica, she was like, it's crazy. I could make a good amount of money in 5 seconds just by taking a picture of my feet and uploading it. Like, it's kind of whenever it's like, oh, the DoorDash person, I want to tip them a little bit more. I'll take one picture of my feet and they'll cover, a week's worth of DoorDash tips. It's pretty incredible.
I think we got something here. We're going to be foot picture agents here on this podcast. And if you're interested, just let us know. T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. So that's another market we are going to corner. You can always email in for anything, though. TMCKERNAN at InsideSTL.com. That is how you can send questions in for QFTA. It is 11:18 in the St. Louis area, and at 12 o'clock I'm shooting Spread Zone with Riz and Anthony Stalter, U.S. Open. Jackson, you will not be appearing on this. How did you do on your basketball picks when you appeared with us last week, and then you tried to skirt out before the hockey segment?
Well, I gave gave away OKC in that game one, their spread, and they didn't even win. So
Right.
that's tough. But I did inform people about the torture chamber and Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah, and you gave me the under on that, and I played it, and I won.
So I hope if people were being, gung ho on betting Halliburton over, that they at least had some context and some knowledge on who the Thunder have to stop him, because I think that theme will continue. I don't think Halliburton will cover a lot of overs on his point totals.
So any plays tonight for me? Can I get anything? I'll fire the bullet.
This game,
My high school bookie, the account's open right now as we speak, and I have diversified on the U.S. Open. I will release those plays on the spread zone. I can't do it now, but I was curious if you had anything, whether it be U.S. Open, whether it be this basketball, which you hit on so effectively.
Pacers haven't lost at home, so I'm just kind of not going to touch
Pacers
this.
are getting 5.5.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch
Plus 180 on the money line.
So the Pacers are such a hard thing to kind of talk about, because the math doesn't math. It just doesn't work.
Math doesn't math.
It's this doesn't make sense. Their team of destiny stuff at home, it's a whole different story. OKC is head and shoulders better than them. So I'm going to stay away. And then with U.S. Open, you either almost have to be all right, I'm just going to put all my money on Scheffler, or just pick a random, because who knows what could happen with how the course is set up.
I am in lockstep with you on the golf thought. I don't have a clue on the NBA thing.
Sure.
Doesn't mean I won't put a little $25 bet on it. But on the golf thing, I share your viewpoint on the Scheffler decision.
Yeah.
And I also think with the course conditions, one of the storylines, I feel like there's going to be no in between, which means it'll probably be in between, but it's either going to be so absurd that becomes the story, or it's going to be, remember when they were saying on Wednesday that the scores are going to be ridiculous, and now look, there's 5 guys who are all 6 under par fighting for the and then when you have conditions like they're going to have, without rain until at least the weekend, which firms out the greens and then the fairways, which means guys think they're going to be hitting to a certain number, but it's so firm it could bounce into a bunker or the rough. What that does is it increases the luck factor. Sophisticated gamblers such as myself, who hold cash calls for their fund multiple times a month, call that variance. And therefore, could you get a rando to win? Because logic would tell you it's Scotty Scheffler, and hey, you just appreciate the greatness. But if it's going to be so crazy, could you get some random winning this? And I don't know. I don't know.
Outside of a Ryder Cup, I don't know if I've been this excited about a non-Masters golf tournament. I'm really excited for this U.S. Open. I love the look of Oakmont. I think it's super cool. I think the history behind it is fascinating. I think it's one of the most intimidating looking golf courses from these T-Bach pictures, because if it's not fairway, it's dense rough off a slope, or it's deep bunkers, or the finger bunkers that they have up and down the fairways. It is such an intimidating looking course. I just think I'm very much looking forward to seeing how all this plays out. What DJ shoot when he won 16? 5 under, 4 or 5 under?
Yeah, different golf course.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if they get that low this week. I'd be shocked.
I agree with you. I haven't been able, have you been able to find the winning score number bet?
No.
I bet Riz will have that.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. This is just a little behind the scenes. And you've seen the notes Riz sends for Spread Zone. And I haven't gotten it for today, but he's put more effort into preparing for one Spread Zone than I'll take it. Have put into for all combined 21 years of TMA. It's just unbelievable,
crazy.
how it's mapped out.
Yeah.
And when we've talked about it, he says that's how I have to work.
Right.
And whereas I wouldn't do well with a show that's mapped out.
Right. It's just, we always use the football analogy. A lot of ways to get into the end zone.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right, YouTube chat, you're welcome to send questions in. People already have, and you can email them in, McKernan at InsideSTL.com. The program presented by James Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, Design Air, Heating and Cooling, and Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies. Ryan D. gets things going in the YouTube chat. I meant to email you months ago, but in your pursuit to engage with the audience, have you considered Discord or Patreon-gated Discord? Maybe that was supposed to be Patreon?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Patreon-gated Discord could be an absolute cluster, though moderating. I'm not well-versed in that. I would love to. I actually love truly love interacting with the audience, but I have yet to find a place and way to do it where it doesn't lead to more downside than upside.
Yeah.
So I'm not all that well versed in Discord. We did talk about this, Ryan.
Yeah.
You might not have listened to this episode. It was a few months ago. Are you well versed in Discord?
I know about it, and I know it's a username situation. So
so people can use burners.
Yeah, it's exactly. So that's the thing, is there's no real platform. At Facebook, yes, but even then, and then it's...
Who's your Trojan horse?
Yeah, there's different ways to get around. Like, if you actually want to have, like, real people using their real names so that they can't say something or act a way which they would never act if they had to attach the real name to it, it's just not really out there. Well, not that we've seen. I'm sure there's ways out there, but it'd be, like, probably pretty invasive. You know, like, you'd be taking a picture of your ID or something, and it's like, who wants to go through that?
Yeah.
It's tough. It's because I agree. Like, engaging with the audience is great.
I love it. Like a good faith discussion.
Right.
But if those who may be looking to cause a problem, to be
Sure.
euphemistic about it, get to utilize anonymity, and we, of course, are out there with something to lose, then the juice is not worth the squeeze. So I don't know. But let me tell you something, whether it be Ryan D or anybody else, email me an idea, and I promise you I'm open to
sure.
it. I guess this comes on the heels of talking about shutting down the fan page, which isn't like something that we're like having meetings about. It's just kind of like, the reason it came up on last week's episode was a little anecdote about somebody posting a screenshot of some girl's dating profile, I think,
yeah.
and then she did kindly reach out and say, hey, I don't know where this came from, but could you please take this down? But if she wanted to be litigious about it, you know, and I had to deal with that, my attorney would go, well, what are you making on it? And do you want to? And I'd go, well, nothing. And he'd go, well, why the hell does it exist then? You know, I mean, you gotta be smarter than that at this point. You can't be doing that shit. So that's the math on it. I mean, that I'd like to think even people who might dislike me or dislike the idea of it not existing anymore would understand that. If there is, you know, if it were bringing in material dollars, then you sit there and go, okay, is it worth it? But it's a non-revenue generating Facebook page that, even though there's however many members, there's only a few hundred who are active, and none of the 4 members of the show are on it. Martin, I don't even think, is on Facebook.
No.
I can't, on this laptop, I'm not logged into Facebook, and I have no idea what my password is, so...
Oh, yeah.
I can't, and I'm kind of like, I didn't even realize it until I went here to post that we were doing QFTA. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch, I'm not in Facebook. I obviously can get in there on my phone.
Right.
But I'm like, I haven't been on Facebook in 6 days. Didn't even realize it.
Right.
So it's a tough spot. So I'd be open to it. I would love to be able to communicate with the audience throughout games, throughout days, throughout shows, answer questions directly. If there is a way to do it, I am all for it. T. McKernan at InsideSTL.com. How about this, Jackson? This may be the best local St. Louis show on YouTube. That's from the Toy Maltese Mafia family.
Very kind. Thank you.
MD 2020 says more than just YouTube. We're 24 hours away from some golfers complaining about the course and how it's not enjoyable to play. Probably want to keep the mics away from Tyrrell Hatton. That's MD 2020.
Put him right in his mouth. That's right.
He's going to lose his mind. I saw him dropping a ball in the grass to see where the rough would go, and he couldn't find it, and he started to bitch right then and there. It was great.
Michael Cameo, I was talking about him on Twitter, recommended reading, because his stuff is great, the behind-the-scenes stuff. He said that aim pointers are going to have some problems because you simply do not have enough fingers for the amount of slide that some of these
That's
putts
what I was
have.
listening to Smiley Coffin's podcast when I was on my way to the station today. I don't know. I'm really anxious to see if this lives up to it. It's not particularly long. 7,200 yards for these guys is not particularly long. So the theme is, Doug would go nuts about this if Iggy and he were doing their DraftKings picks, that if you, and Xander Schauffele said this, if you are a world-class ball striker, you're going to be in heaven, because that's what it's all about. And so that's why I've seen some of the guys that I listen to saying they don't like Bryson because they think iron play is going to be the determining factor. And then if it's iron play, it's like, then how can it not be Scotty Scheffler with what he's doing. I think if Scotty Scheffler had a bigger personality, there'd be, I don't know, celebration isn't the right word, but he'd have a higher Q rating.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's an absurdly obvious take. What kind of take would you call that? Safe take? Lukewarm take?
It's safe take's pretty good.
So if I were trying to engagement farm, that wouldn't really get me anything?
I could get you a lot of likes. You're not going to get a lot of people being like, I disagree. Because, I think Scotty's personality is that that he's a normal guy. That he's just kind of like, he's a little bit Patrick Mahomes, where it's like, oh yeah, that's just like a guy I would get a beer with or, get paired up with randomly on a public golf course. He doesn't seem like a private jet, super rich.
Seems like a great fucking guy.
Totally.
And he's not like a straight arrow, not that there's anything wrong with that, like scold you if you go out of your way. Like when he won the PGA, screamed "fuck yeah," you know.
He seems like a totally. I think the Mahomes comp is pretty. I think they're pretty similar. Unbelievably good as it gets in their respective sports. And they're like, I like to have a beer. I'll go to church on Sunday, hang out with my family and my wife and kids, and love playing golf. I think they're really similar. Probably
follows Ella Reese BBY.
Yeah, maybe not publicly. Both Texas guys.
Yeah, both Texas. Speaking to Texas, take Michigan -3 in the UFL Championship. That's from Chief J Strongblow.
All right.
I did bet the Battlehawks to win the UFL Championship plus 225. That money has been lit on fire. I did mention this play, and I will mention it on the spread zone. I just saw Riz, because it got pushed back to, our shooting spread zone got pushed back to 12, which is why we're doing QFTA now. And he and Stalter just love, because I go into detail on the golf picks, and then I make a pick, and neither one made the fucking cut either time. Justin Thomas at the Masters and Minwoo Lee at the USO or PGA. And so it is becoming a tradition for me to do all this research and then lay out a play and then just fail miserably. But I will give this, I did it on TMA, and I'll do it on this podcast as well. The play that I really like, Papers, Rory McIlroy to miss the cut, plus 300. Rory McIlroy to miss the cut, plus 300. And a bullet has been fired by the Tam Avenue Capital Partners on that.
This is why I can't do it. I can't. He's my guy. I don't want to root against him. I won't do it.
Business.
I know.
Never
this is why. Yeah, this is why I'm a pigeon.
Scotty Scheffler is the shortest odds favorite in a major championship since Tiger at the 2009 PGA Championship. He is only plus 275. Next up, Bryson at plus 700. Ooh. Then John Rahm. Rory, notably, is behind them at plus 1,400. How about this one? I realize it's generally a private topic, but I usually love your recommendations. Hashtag go. I thought it said going on strike. It said gong strike. This is why I need the readers. Gong strike. But do you consume any Christian/religious content, growing faith, fatherhood, etc.? That's from the co-founder of the Fairmount Park Players Club. I have to tell you, I really appreciate the question because I think it's sincere, and it also tells me that this person hasn't probably listened to all that much of me. And when it comes to religion, I would not by any means describe me as anti-religion. I would describe myself as someone who is fascinated by the United States moving closer to a theocracy in recent time. It's just kind of accepted in a portion of the population's mind. It blows me away. All that being said, if people believe and they have faith, then I tip my cap. And if anything, I would describe myself as envious of those who do. I think it would be a much more pleasant way to go through life. But I would describe myself as agnostic. I would describe myself as one who believes that so many religions have wonderful teachings, but wings of those religions bastardize the teachings to either bring themselves power or to discriminate against people who are different than them. And that is where I am coming from on my 2025 Cliff Notes version of religion.
Yeah, I think that was well said.
Thank you.
Agree with a lot of it.
So no, the answer to that question is no. What podcast do I listen to? I'll just call them up. I think I told the listeners about this Pillow Talk.
Yeah, you were talking about that last week.
Yeah, they got a new episode with Armani Black.
Armani or Armani?
Armani Black. I think it's Armani Black.
It's a woman?
Yes. And then the TMA podcast just fired right in front of me. I see Hot Furry Action. Do you or KG name the segments? Hot Furry Action. Yeah, so we'll have Kevin Hart. The interviews are separate on the TMA podcast feed.
I'll separate that after the...
let's see, Smiley Kaufman's podcast, The Knowledge Project. I enjoy Amy Poehler's podcast, I have to tell you.
It's called The Hangout?
Good Hang.
Good Hang, that's right.
I don't know why.
She has great guests. Right?
She has great guests, but I don't know. It's very light.
Yeah.
My podcast choice or audible choice is based on my mood when I get into my car or when I'm hitting balls. That's basically when I'm listening to podcasts or books. Let's see, College Game Days podcast, The Daily, The Mental Golf Show, Subpar, No Laying Up, Andrew Marchand Sports Media podcast, The Press Box, which is a Ringer podcast with Brian Curtis, Club Random with Bill Maher, which I probably listened to about 5% of those episodes. And it looks like what I got here. And Odd Lots. There you go. Oh, and the All In podcast.
Nice.
Are you a podcast guy?
Oh, yeah.
What are your go-tos? Probably a lot of Ringer.
A lot of the Ringer.
On Holly Randall. No new episode today, Holly. I usually look forward to who's on Wednesdays.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Mine is, a lot of Ringer. So The Big Picture, which is the Ringer's movie podcast. The Rewatchables, which is where they rewatch movies. Bill Simmons pod. Ryan Russillo. And then you got the Apple. Shout out to my guys at Bob Does Sports. They have a podcast. They also have a second podcast called Brilliantly Dumb. Green Light with Chris Long.
Yeah.
So those are my main go-tos.
So are they, see, in my mind, unfairly, because I don't listen to some of the ones you listed, I'm just picturing Long's talking NFL and SVP, which I guess I've already listened to with Stanford Steve. Long's talking football and Russillo's talking NBA. And I just, most of the time I'm not really all that interested in
Ryan and Bill,
NFL and NBA most of the time.
Ryan and Bill do NFL and NBA, and then Bill, he does whatever the fuck he wants. He just posts 3 hours, and 1 hour will be a deep dive into basketball, like hard as a rock, and then he'll have...
And how many does he do a week? Is it just random?
Random, but usually 2 or 3. 2 usually. And then, but sometimes he's deep into basketball, and then hour 2 is Ben Affleck and Matt Damon in studio hanging out. Or he's doing some ridiculous ranking or something. So he's kind of just does anything he wants. He had Pablo Torre on last week to discuss their feud.
I can't recall who it was. Maybe it was Marchand. Very critical of that whole thing because they were just content for both of them, and it was.
Yeah, I didn't.
But see, I don't know if Simmons really cares about that at this point.
No, I think
I don't really know Pablo's song and dance, but it's like when certain people get to certain points, it's not like they need another couple million. You know what I mean?
Right. I thought it was just kind of, and I listened to all of it, Bill kind of being, New England homer, and a little bit. And I know some people.
You're talking about this like everybody knows what happened. It was about his coverage of Belichick and his girlfriend.
So on the Rewatchables, Simmons made a little crack at Pablo Torre about getting a lot of mileage of the Bill Belichick girlfriend story, going on a press tour about it. And they kind of had a little back and forth, and Bill had him on his podcast to discuss it. And I just felt like it was a little bit like Bill kind of defending his boy, a little bit of, Boston pride. And some people take that as that's kind of weak. The reason I like Bill Simmons is because he covers the game like a real fan. And I know I would be defending my favorite players or guys, even if it is probably not consistent with the rest of my viewpoints. And I respected it. And I respected where Pablo was coming from. I thought it was a productive conversation, however real the conversation might have been. Okay.
All right. I follow you. There you go.
It's summertime, Tim. It's time for sports media beefs.
And that's why we're at these intense radio wars with the Fast Lane and the Riz Show. Ryan D is back on Discord. He says Bruzel, Bourbon Snob Channel, does it well using Patreon and Discord, in my opinion. Okay, I'm not familiar with it. I guess I could look into it. I mean, if somebody wants to do it, I would say I would pay, but it's I'm just paying out of my own pocket and I'm just losing money, so that would be stupid.
Right.
And I don't really care to do that, even if it only were a minimal amount of money. But if somebody could handle it, I would be it's better if one of us associated with the show is not handling it, because then this sliver of the audience, and I want to emphasize the word sliver, and sliver might be overstating it, that isn't a part of it, or that they get booted, then they take it as one of us booted them, and then it leads to some behavior away from the public that we experience and have experienced that would freak people out. And I don't want to go through that again, because I guess we had that with the Inside STL message board, and we have it now with the TMA fan page on Facebook, plus most people at this point, younger people anyway, aren't on Facebook. So we need something. But then, I mean, how many people are in Discord? I don't know. I'm open to anything. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. And maybe it's just a bad idea to do it in the first fucking place. I don't know.
The internet anytime it's on the internet and there's an opportunity for burners, it's just...
Yeah, I agree with that principle.
Right. And then anytime you're trying to verify identity on the internet, it's always difficult. Ask any of these legislators in pornography where they're trying to verify age. It's really difficult. It's really, really hard. You know, you can say, yes, I'm 18. I can click that when I'm 4 or when I'm 40. It doesn't matter.
There is a TMA Discord. I think Droid Effects moderates it. I don't quite understand Discord, but I'm on it. It's pretty quiet. That's our MD 2020. I guess there's a TMA Discord.
Okay.
Let's see. What do you guys think about the rise of YouTube golf? Bob Does Sports, Bryan Brothers, Grant Horvat, etc. Is it a better model for fan engagement than the PGA Tour itself? Especially the Wesley Bryan suspension from the tour over it. Love to hear Tim's take on that. That comes from just like a dash. It's just a dash.
Yeah.
I've got something going on in which I could get involved in something like this. And the only reason I'm being relatively cryptic about it is because it is not my thing. Somebody has reached out to me about it, and just this has all happened here within the last couple of weeks, and had a meeting on it earlier this week. And this person was telling me about being at an event, big event too. This wasn't like a, kind of one of the throwaway tournaments, big of signature event. And it was a pro-am, and, it's a signature event. You're going to take your pick of whomever, the big names there, minus the live guys. And the biggest group following a player at the Pro-Am was Wesley Bryan's fans. Mm-hmm. Now, I have been to events. I was the Honda in 2017, I think, which he was leading through 36. Ricky Fowler wound up winning it. He won at the RBC Heritage somewhere right around that time. A very solid player, but certainly not a star. He'd be the first one to admit it. And yet, for kids in whatever age range that they start watching this stuff, that's who they care about. They care about the Bryan brothers, who I would imagine probably 90% of the people who will listen to this podcast, maybe not 90%, I don't know, maybe 90% won't know who I'm talking about, Wesley Bryan and George Bryan. Mm-hmm. Grant Horvat, who got, I think he really, when do you think he became, I'm saying mainstream, but I'm still realizing that probably the majority of the people who listen won't know who I'm talking about.
So he was with Good Golf.
Right. But I think it's when he started doing the Mickelson stuff. I think that's when he got more. He was with Good.
And then his split up with Good was kind of publicized, although I don't think it was bad. They do a ton of videos still. But yes, right when he started doing stuff with Phil, and there was a huge boom in YouTube golf that was building for a while.
It's killing it. It's so. This is whatever. Of course, it's a true story. And I'm not saying I had it, because what I was talking about doing is different than. But I was playing with Adam Long right at the start of COVID down in Jupiter, and I feel like there was another guy who was with us, not a pro, but a guy who was a pros instructor, and playing a course that it's a nice course. It's in South Florida, but it wasn't like a medalist, Grove or something like that. And we're just bullshit. And I go, I got a business idea. And he goes, oh, do you? In other words, like, oh, as a guy who's one of the PGA Tour, guess what? I've been pitched a bunch of bullshit, And usually there's a guy that handles this for me, and I don't. And I said, while you guys aren't playing right now, because they'd shut down the tour, what if, I had a couple cameras just follow you, and you'd play with some pros, and you just bullshit and play each other? This was pre the match, and this was pre all this stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't think it's a bad idea. He wasn't really all that interested. He has 2 young children. And I think that's what, I don't think it's about I don't think you have to be a golf fan to enjoy it. Like like Bob does sports, like that Bob guy is no good.
It stinks.
But it's the entertainment of the interaction.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
That makes it great.
It's the hangout.
It's the hangout. That's the thing. That's when people, they wind up saying shit. I did Greg Warren and Tim Convey's podcast yesterday, and I'm driving there to do it, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell we're going to talk about, but I know these guys, and I'm going to be comfortable, and I got to make sure I don't say something that will fuck me up,
right.
Which sucks, but that's the deal. But when I'm on the golf, I'm just bullshitting, right. And I think that's what people like.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely.
yeah, I think that's what works. I thought you might want Dash is what I'm calling him because it's literally just a dash. He says, yes, that is the total thing.
Yeah, I don't think it has to be like which one's better at it. I think they can work in unison. I think that the tour can use them to help publicize, not to mention
it's killing it for them.
Right.
It's
so
helping
they have
grow
all
the
of
game.
them
That's why they're having Grant
locals.
Horvat got an invite, a sponsor's exemption to some. It certainly isn't a premier event, but Dash says you feel like you're getting to know these guys. They're having so much fun, and you are too. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I find myself like if I'm working and I'm in my basement, the kids aren't around. I'll put it on. I'll put it on the television. Take your pick of whatever YouTube golf, just as kind of the background. And I'm not like, oh, he's 180 out. Wow, he's only hitting an 8-iron. Holy shit! It's the bullshitting that amuses the hell out of me. Like I want to go out with take your pick of whomever, and just bullshit with them. That's what I want. Now I want to play them, and have our little thing. But I would just want to bullshit.
Yeah, I think it's.
I would love to do that, and we did it. We shot a sample episode, and I think you saw it, didn't you?
Really
It was me and Rafe from the Riz show, and the production team here did a great job. You listed multiple golf podcasts on your phone, which is the best. Depends on what you're in the mood for. Fresh off an event. I love listening to No Laying Up. I'm saying this as a fan of the show. This is how I get, like Doug always, he'll say it in the commercial break, and Martin is really workshopping the hate thing. It's so funny to watch.
Yeah.
There was a guy, like the Kevin Harlan interview we did today got 100% approval. And then there was one guy who I think was mocking like the
people who bitch
about it.
Yeah.
And Martin was like irritated by it. And I go, man, I said, I think this guy's like playing into like mocking. And he's like, I was about to write back. I'm like, I wanted to go. I'm like, oh, God, don't do that.
Never.
You're so above that, because there are people in our industry who will write back like negative shit. And I'm going, that and we don't need. But why was I talking about that? I have no idea why I was talking about that. Doug will say, why do people listen to a show when they hate the show? And for me, with No Laying Up, I really like the show, but there is a person on the show who I'm just like, I'm really surprised that these guys who clearly have built something, I know their ad rates because I looked at advertising with them, and I'm just, if anything, jealous of it, but I also enjoy the show, jealous of their rates, and I'm sure they're making ridiculous money and only have to do a couple shows a week. But there's a guy on the show, I'm just like, how is he on the show? He just... It's inaccurate. It's bad takes, and it's just like what the fuck. And I don't think he's really funny. But I listen to the show, So if somebody likes TMA, but they're like that fucking McKernan drives me up the wall, and I bet there is a good amount of that actually. Or they like the show, they like hockey, but they hate that you don't like. You know what I mean?
Right.
That kind of thing. I get it. So I do understand that. But No Laying Up would be my answer. There's some good golf interviews on Colt Knost and Drew Stolz's podcast, which is, God, I can't think of the name of it. I have it on here. I apologize. Let me just text Bill here real quick.
Bill.
Subpar, that's the name of it. And then I listen to Smiley Kaufman's podcast as well. Workshopping the Hate might be the title of your memoir. I don't know. I'm not necessarily workshopping the hate. I don't know. I just kind of understand. It comes with the territory.
Right.
It's an odd thing. I think it'd be helpful to teach people at a young age, but if you aren't getting hate in our industry, you aren't making money in our industry.
You ain't got no haters. You ain't popping.
That would be another way to say it.
I'm trying to think of what the title of your memoirs would be.
I think we said it. I don't give a fuck. It's the truth. I think I screamed it last week.
Yeah, as your Pesci.
Or Hi-Ho Silver.
I'm on the Sibian.
I'm on my Sibian. Yeah. I just got a text that good news for you that they're ready for us, and Riz just texted me and Stalter that they're ready for us for Spread Zone. So that will not be live, but it'll be up soon. So good news for you, Jackson. Pick what the fuck is this called? The Tim McKernan Show. It's over. Unless you just want to keep going and giving your breakdowns of the Pacers and Thunder.
I won't subject people to that.
We're going to wrap it up. Thank you to James Carlton of the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency. Thank you to Seth Goldcamp of Design Air Heating and Cooling. And thank you to Mark Hanna of Evergreen Wealth Strategies. You can always send in questions, Tim McKernan at InsideSTL.com. This has been the Tim McKernan Show podcast on the Inside STL Podcast Network.